Okay. So, welcome back, everybody, to our actual play of Quest, a new fantasy RPG. We are running it in a setting which is inspired by Spelljammer, an old AD&D Second Edition setting, um, but only inspired by. Last time we were together, our heroes, or most of our heroes, managed to steal a ship called the a Spiritfarer, which seems to be cut out of living wood and has now bonded itself mostly to the crew. We had one missing crew member last time, which was Hallow. And we're going to catch up with what Hallow has been doing, that strange alien-looking construct during the this session. We are playing on the Gauntlet, which means we are playing under its inclusivity policy and code of conduct. We are using core and common safety tools for indie roleplay games. We're using the X card, we're using script change, and we're using lines and veils. And we've just taken a moment to refresh our thoughts about what they are, and we do a cooldown session with stars and wishes at the end of each session. But probably with no further ado, let's hard frame into the cargo hold of another ship, not the Spiritfarer, out there on the Aether. And this is where we will find hiding in the shadows. Hallow. Um, Hallow, as this crew was attempting to steal the Spiritfarer. The enigmatic and convincing Blue Rose sort of suggested there was another thing that maybe you could do with Alphamere and the ship that they came in with. They would be here for the ball, but then slipping away. And what was most interesting to them is that effectively you had an interest in why she had porcelain hands just like yours. But Blue Rose says, well, I'm interested in that as well. And especially in the star maps that they hold, because otherwise we're going to be a little bit blind out there. So maybe you can find out a little of what matters for you, and you can steal star maps for us and the crew, so we can journey further um, into the wild space between the crystal worlds. And she's very convincing, and asked and pleaded and begged until you were willing to do this.
I'm sure
Is
she was
that
very
okay with
dignified.
you with a hard frame, Leandra?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good with that.
So I think we will open with you then. I say in that ship, hiding away slightly, trying to figure out what your plan is. You are sure that the only people on board the vessel are Alphamere and her rather uh, uh, brawny bodyguard um, that Abraxas got into a fight in back in chapter 1 of our tale. Other
Hmm.
than that, this is not a huge ship. It is more of a yacht. You think? Um, they do have star maps, and um, you hear them mutter, or you hear them mutter before you cast off and say, "I said, I can't believe that ship has been stolen." I said, "We will need to return. We would need to return to the home vessel and report on our findings." I said, "The Maester will be most interested."
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Um, so I think what Hallow is going to do is they are gonna try to find those star maps. So you say there's only two people here in the ship, so that's interesting in itself. But I think what Hallow's gonna do is like carefully poke out of cargo hold and probably make their way to the equivalent of the captain's cabin. I'm looking at my abilities and realize I made Hal to be a social spy rather than a ninja spy.
Well, do check that, and I'll remind people of this that you have. Did everyone add their adventure points? I probably didn't. Yeah, so there were people here who got the adventure points last time, but a session has passed, so you should now have 7 abilities on your sheet. So if you are missing something stealthy, that's fine. And if you're not, if you don't have something stealthy, then you can just roll a d20 to help you on your journey.
Mhm. Yeah. I think I don't. Let me. I'll do this later because I know for a fact that looking at these paths, I won't have any abilities that'll let me turn invisible or something like that. I went down too far to the in the talking to people paths. It's fine. I'll just sneak around and try to get to the captain's cabin.
That sounds sensible. So let's see how that goes for you with a flat d20 roll.
Yeah. The fun thing when having porcelain skin is that like it's kind of heavy, so it's not really good for stealth. And you got to be careful not to bump into things, including rolling a 5.
So against our basic rules, I suppose the good news is, oh no, it's not. Sorry, it's a 6 to 10. A 2 to 5 is a fail. Once again, playing the Leandro, the dice roll has taken us into a strange situation in the first 5 minutes of the game. Uh,
every time.
I seem
No,
to have
no.
this effect on your dice rolling, mate. Sorry about that, but
Okay, so it wasn't dice rollers. It's just you, Dave.
it's
I
me.
see.
I, it's not the dice roller to me. I'm like a Jonah to your rolling, but still, that is a fail. So I think as you are making your way through, you've made your way into the captain's cabin. You open up the and what the map, so to speak, is more of like it's similar, I suppose, to a mechanical contraption, alchemical and sorcerous in nature, where you can see sort of colorful rivers of liquid moving around. You can see yourself as a small little dot and a bigger mechanical representation of a ship further forward. This is more like, though a map is quite three-dimensional, alchemical. As you touch it, it sort of vibrates slightly and then all sort of collapses down on itself into a small cube of brass and wood. It does that in a way which is quite noisy, unfortunately, and that is where you spot the sleeping Althamir with the porcelain hands, who turns, gasps, and looks to you. And as what? Who? How did you? Said to the tax inspector. Why are you here?
Ooh. I think um the first thing Hallow does is they'll hold up the the star cube,
Mm-hmm.
and say like, well, there were some irregularities with your tax form, so I thought best investigate. And well, I don't think these were declared, were they?
Do you have any of your abilities that you think are appropriate here, or once again are you rolling to see if?
Let's see. Right. There there's one that's nearly there. It's like silver tongue, but I think it's for convincing guards. So like, no, I'm not doing anything wrong, Your Honor. This is like this is way beyond the pale what I'm
So
doing.
yeah, do you know who I am would be potentially appropriate?
Ooh.
D- d-
No, I need a party member to be nearby to that because they start inventing stuff for me. It's a fun ability. I want to try it out, but I'm all alone right now. Uh, I'm good with look. I know I've had bad roles, but and which means I'm kind of putting the onus on you, Dave. If slash when I fail, um, I do think I want to emphasize that like while holding it out, I kind of like squeeze the cube. as kind of like a very small implied threat. As if like you come closer, I'm gonna do something
Mm-hmm.
with this cube. Not gonna help because it's just a big D20.
Yeah, I think this is. But looking at your abilities, there, I think this is a D20 roll situation.
Yeah, that's a 10.
So the 10 puts us into the tough choice situations. And she looks you up and down and says, "You're not a tax collector. And if you don't want me to shout for brawl and have you thrown out into the ether, you have 2 minutes to explain yourself. What you say next is probably the difference between your life and death."
Well, I've always thought honesty is kind of the second best policy around. Beyond lying to get what you want. But that one's failed. Uh, I was sent here by my employer to acquire these rather precious star maps, but I've had a look at your ship and your operation, you know, as a tax collector, um, and honestly, rather than give this to my employer, I'd almost rather give my employer to you.
I'm listening.
Well, it just so happens my employer has recently gotten off the Rock of Brawl on a rather fancy kind of vessel, which I think you and your friend were you had your eyes on.
Said you're in league with the Blue Rose and her crew.
Well, well, in league's a bit of a strong term for it, but you can say that.
How typical. Scum like you will betray their friends at the earliest opportunity. Um,
But well, that implies friendship in the first place. But I've from what experience I have, quote unquote, scum like me are useful to people like you who need something.
how do you appear at this present moment in time, Hallow?
Ooh, let me start looking at these abilities because I saw disguise. I'm like, can I have that? Oh, technically I can. I can. Oh, I think I think I think Hallow is dressed like what they usually dress. Out of character. This is them being like, all right, if I can get an in with this lady, I'll get to know more about her. So this is Hallow dressing like they usually dress, which is what did I write down? Black finery more suited to royalty. Okay, that's great. They've got a big shawl. That is like black like and lined with like silver all over and yeah, they've got like a nice kind of like suit underneath like the shawl, and they've got a winning smile on. They're still holding up the map.
And I think she looks at your porcelain skin and smiles a wry smile and says, "You don't even know what you are, do you?"
Well, since we're being honest at the moment, no, I don't, and I'm hoping for a direction to find out a little bit more.
And she looks at you and sort of says, "I thought your kind were truly gone, and said only scraps of you left." And she looks at her own porcelain hands. It says, but fine. If you are as duplicitous as you say you are, I am sure the Blue Rose and her crew will come for you. In the interim, I think it best that we talk about how you can assist me. Whilst you are, I think, in chains, and she rings a small bell, and we see the door open, and the hulking form of Drow the Pious come through the door, ducking to get in. But let's cut the lens at that point and shift back upon the Spiritfarer. We're in the captain's cabin. The Blue Rose has a map on. It is nowhere near as fancy as the map we just saw upon the other vessel. This is one more of parchment, and it has got a dot written on it, which is a like a small little stickman figure of Hallow, and a name written off it saying Hallow, and the ship is pointing towards it, trying to close in. Um, uh, I think she says, I have no doubt that he said, I have never met a spy as capable and competent as Hallow, and by now they undoubtedly have the other vessel under their control. I said, still, I don't expect to see a number of them aboard this ship, but if we are going to need to take it to get Hallow off, do anyone have any thoughts on our plan of attack? What about you, Abraxas?
I mean, I've not done much naval. I have not had many naval encounters before, but I guess I would just go for the old-fashioned jump over the side and impress the crew into submission.
I see. That's yourself.
It's just not a bad plan. I'm all about that.
How wonderful. So our entire plan is to come alongside and surprise you as them with our shock and awe, fear and terror, fine tailoring, and song and dance routines. Yes, said it's.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is no need to worry. I'm sure Hallow is fine. Cut to the cargo hold where Hallow is now hanging in chains from a hook on the ship. um, that's when she sort of sees on the map there is it does sort of reflect you the best, yes, but in a modern simulacrum it would be like a little radar, but this is ink that appears on the scroll and then disappears, and it waves over, and she sort of makes a swear. It says that is a larger vessel. I wondered how they'd got up this far in a yacht. We are going to need to move fast. She gives a nod to Seraphim, who is the pilot of the ship, and it sort of starts accelerating away faster, and you can hear the creak. And then you can see in this sort of swirling mists coming up towards you the shape of the other vessel. It starts accelerating away from you. That's something the Blue Rose says. Alternatively, there is more than a fighting chance that that Hallow has cocked it up.
I mean, that's okay. We can save them, right? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are bigger than the ship, but this ship seems to be a little bit faster than you and is nimbling away. So it will be sort of, as I say, as you come across it, it jags away from the main space lanes and towards a cloud of dust and gas, trying to shake your glare. and it powers down into the mists away from you. And Blue Rose curses and says, "Someone see if they can get an eye on that thing." Said, "We can't lose it." Does anyone have anything they can use to spot such a creature? Are the ship down in the mists? Or does anyone want to roll a d20 to see how it goes?
Well, I might have something. I mean, when I see that ship, does it seem like it's made out of a wood similar to the ship that we are on?
Not quite. I'm going to put a picture back into the chat window here. It's more made out of sort of a white ivory like material and glittering brass, this one. So not quite, but if I'm willing to be flexible if you position what you're trying to achieve here, Varen.
Well, I mean, I have that command nature ability, which I used last time to communicate with you know, if something is made of some type of living plant material, it would work, although ivory would not be a plant material. So
let us say that there is a wooden hull underneath this plating, and that will give you the ability to use your ability. Is that an ability point to spend, or is it what you have to roll for?
well, this is not. I'm what I'm going to try to do is to get it to. It would not be a harmful effect, so it wouldn't be an ability spend. But I'm thinking of something where it would be emitting a vibration that I could pick up on, a loud vibration through the mist that would allow me to pick up on its general location.
Cool. I am happy to do that. In the mists for the next sort of 30 minutes or so, it is a cat and mouse game until such point as you spot it, Baron. You can sort of feel the natural elements that make it in this field of dust. But the dust itself, you think is potentially, and the gas is potentially flammable. So you will need to be careful. But you have it. So what would you like to do?
Well, I need to come up with a rhyming couplet for this to go off. So so let's do something like okay, here's the rhyme. Oh vessel in the mist, trying to give us a slip. Please give me a sound so we can find your ship.
Excellent. That is enough. It sort of whispers back, and it is like a sonar. Boop over here. Boop over here.
Yeah, and I think with that, Varen would get up to the whoever is does somebody have to be at the helm of the ship to guide it along? Is there somebody like in that
There's someone is piloting, and that will be Seraphine at this present moment in time. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think Varen would kind of leap over to the Seraphine and say, I know the direction. and will be pointing with his finger roughly where whenever he hears that sonar beep, he'll say, there, it's coming from there.
Awesome. So that is enough for the ship to get a hook onto it. So we'll have one chance, says Blue Rose, to make a to land upon this vessel. The stealthy or bold, the choice is yours. And says, Abraxas, Deskless, why don't you lead the raiding party?
That's also not a be like, yes, time to jump on.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Excellent. So, do you have any specific abilities that you are looking to use here, or are people trying to jump across?
I think that's also do the classic leap onto the other boat with like spinning the bow staff super dramatically down on the nearest person or hooking it on something to keep steady.
Yeah, and I think Brax is going to swing out on the line, and attempt to sort of drop down onto the deck of the other ship.
Okay. So you land with grace and panache, hopefully with something that looks like a little bit of a hero's landing without breaking your knees. But boom, you hit the ground, and I think that is again the point where you spot on the ship as you do it. Unless are you trying to land quietly and unseen, or is this a
No, it's gonna be
this is
loud.
full? This is full. Aha!
Yeah, like, come at me! Where is my friend? I actually don't know what they look like. I whisper to Abraxas.
The door to the main cabin opens, and we see the fearsome, hulking form of Dral the Pious, looking at you and says, "What?" Said, "You again?" Points to Abraxas' heart and says, "You'll not be so lucky this time," and then points to you, Deskless, and says, "You wait your turn. I'm going to give him a thrashing first."
And Abraxas is going to laugh and say, well, it's Mr. Pius. It's good to see you again. I'm afraid last time I was holding back, but if you have our companion here and hand them over, we can go about our way. But if you're going to make a scene out of this, then I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back this time.
Says, "Oh, you're with the construct. I see. Then of course you can come straight with me down to the hold and join them in chains."
And I think with that, Abraxas is just going to raise the tip of the rapier in a salute and say, "Well, in that case, I guess we're going to have to do this the fun way."
Okay. There is a sudden judder as the ship pulls down in the cloud and away, and you can see the Spiritfarer behind you being lost in the mists. But you were not ambushed, so we're going to hit the combat rules for the first time here. You were not ambushed, so the PCs will go first, but it does go into a round system. It should not take many rounds, but it does have a more traditional type game combat system in terms of resolving this. So yes, as you draw your rapier, he draws his large double-handed mace from his back, whooshes it towards you. And I think it is for well, you're both squaring off doing the ha ha thing. So maybe actually I'm going to ask Deskless what they want to do first, because are they going to step away or get engaged in some sort of way? I think it's probably quite appropriate as the fighter.
Yeah, I'm gonna step up first and kind of point at what's the name of the person?
Drawl the
Drawl.
Pious.
Point at Draw with like just very dramatically with the finger and just be like, actually, you're gonna have to go through me first, and I'm gonna run up and do a wild attack on it. So I'm just going to not even use the bow staff, just kind of swing a deep punch towards Drow.
Okay.
Well, let's see. So I just rolled
It's just a straightforward D20 on that particular ability.
D20. Yep. Here I go. I rolled a 2.
So you miss. And all
Yes.
enemies within reach may counterattack you immediately. So I
Yes.
think as you come in swinging to do a big punch to them, they stuck away from you and said, "Foolish imp!" And Dral is strong and big, grabs you, thumping you across the face with the back of their hand, which is going to do 2 hit points of damage to you, and throws you over the edge, but you manage to grab on with your hands. Whilst you are doing that, you've got an opportunity to attack, you think, Abraxas.
Yeah, and I think Abraxas is going to yell, "Oi, Bral, over here!" And is going to lunge at him with a rapier strike, probably doing a big sort of flashy cut, more aimed at distracting and keeping him off balance. But yeah, I think that will probably just be a basic attack for the moment.
Okay, so if that is straight for a basic attack, you are rolling to hit on a D20.
That is a 14.
So a 14 is a standard hit, meaning you do your basic damage.
Which is just 2, I believe.
It is 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally it's 2 unless it's usually within 1 for unarmed combat, unless you've got special abilities and other things will add to it. Again, it's designed, your hit points never go up, and enemies are though there might be multiple enemies, it's not that we're going to spend the entirety of our game, thankfully, rolling dice, having a big combat. But there is, as I say, bang. So you hit. The blade cuts across the armor on his chest with a scrape. You have drawn blood. You can see droplets of it float up in blood globules into the air. He goes, "Damn you, tiefling!" Upon which point that he swings back at you.
I'm going to flip back over to edge and intercept the attack against Abraxas.
Cool. So you'll try to pull yourself up. I think you'll take you around because you failed. So she'll take you around to pull yourself back into play. I think just so he's going to have one moment of dueling, and then you are back in. But I will take it as what you are doing is you are making your way through this time. So he is going to. I'm just finding bits for this. So they are going to strike back at you. Or I roll a 7. So he swings wild with this mace, Abraxas, and your nimble feet are much more effective at this hulking weapon, and you sidestep it. He goes, "Curses!" Says, "Will you stop moving so I may swipe you?"
Fred, not old man. I don't believe in stopping or slowing down. And I think maybe that he is going to kind of do a little unnecessary sort of spin around him.
Okie dokie. But you have dodged that, and you are now back into the struggle, Abraxas, after pulling yourself over the edge and back onto the deck. He says, "You keep dodging, and now there are two of you. This isn't fair."
Boo! You have a whole ship. Give us our friend back.
No. Deciding, going sort of, you see this moment of decision in his head as he's trying to figure out which of you he dislikes the most and wants to hit. Deciding that, annoying as Desolus is, it's Abraxas who's almost bested him twice. I think he's engages towards you. So again, it will be a D20 roll here, Abraxas, to see if you hit.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think I think that Abraxas is going to be kind of circling around him to try and position himself now on the door side of Bral as he comes in for the strike, and that is a 10.
So on a 10, it's a tough choice. So you're going to strike him, but he is going to counterattack and strike you back.
That is fair.
So they take 2 points of damage, but you are hit by this rather large mace, taking 3 points of damage as it crunches into your ribs with a thud.
And I think Abraxas is going to let out a sort of oof of expelled breath and say, "Well, you hit pretty hard with that once you get going, don't you?"
Says, "I'll beat the pretty out of you." But he's so pleased with the fact that he has finally, after 2 encounters, managed to thump Abraxas' heart. He has not paid attention to the fact that you have circled behind them, Desolus, and if you hit well here, you will probably end the fight.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna run behind the flank and spin the bow staff on as a good old bonk towards Drawl's head. Here I go with my wild attack. It is a 10. I deal double damage, but they can counterattack me.
Yeah, Bral is fast enough. In fact, for a man of his hulking size, faster than you expect. He sort of spins around and hits you with the mace, but you've done double damage, so that's 4. So you hit him square. So could you take 3 points of damage from being thumped by the mace? So you're down to 5 hit points. But ultimately, yes, you are. Do you want to describe what it looks like as the bow makes contact with them? As you take Dral is knocked out. So what does it look like, or what happens next?
When Drawl falls to the ground, I'm like, should have just let us get on the boat and get our friend back. And I want to check for keys, like to because because he said that Hallow was locked up down in chains or whatever.
Yes, there is definitely on his belt. There is a set of keys.
Snatch.
Wonderful. But your ship, I say, has pushed and pulled away from the Spiritfarer, who we have lost. We have lost above. This thing is nimble and quite fast, Varin. So back aboard the ship, you sort of the. I mean, they just jumped over the side and straight onto it. They didn't think about taking boarding ropes or trying to tether the ship. So they jumped on, and then the ship flew away. So there is this moment of I say, you saw it disappear down into the dust again, and you can feel powerful counter magics being woven against your spells now. It's going to take something different to try and find them again.
Okay, and so I'm still on the Spiritfarer.
Yeah,
and,
that's correct. Yeah.
And am I alone on the helm now, or is
No,
Seraphim
so
still?
that I think you're on the bridge. Blue Rose is on the bridge, and so is Seraphim. Gunther von der Pomp has tried to man some of the crossbows and is preparing boarding hooks, going like, "Oh, those idiots! Is this the first battle they have been in?" But Seraphim and Blue Rose are going like, "We've lost them! Damn it!"
Yeah. So I think I will let them know that I think I can still pick up where they are coming from, but it's going to require me to climb up to the crow's nest to get a better view of things. And so Varen, agilely kind of goes up to that crow's nest, and I think what if I need a better insight, I took I think this was the ability I just put on for the new one, Nature's Watch, where I can extend my senses for the next hour, and it doesn't require a roll. I don't think I just choose two things that I would get sight of, and I think one of them would be aura sight, which allows me to detect a faint outline around anything affected by a spell. That's the one that I think would be most relevant, although since I get two and it lasts for an hour, I guess maybe the infrasight as well might be useful. Detect objects nearby whose relative heat makes them stand out, like creatures with warm bodies.
I think both of those are appropriate. So you're right. There's no roll for that. There's just the adventure point spend of 3. So mark your APs down, and yeah, you cast. What does it look like when you call upon this power, Varian?
So Varen is up at the crow's nest, and I think when he invokes the power, I think you do see it's a sight power, so you do see a bluish light that is in his eyes right now, that those who know him would kind of be aware that, yeah, there's this magical sight. I guess people who don't know me just think that there's something strange going on with my eyes, that they seem to be glowing blue right now.
Awesome, but it does work, and I think as a result of that, you see the glittering shapes of the outline of the ship, which is being held away from you by sorcery, but also you can see the heat moves, and as the ship is closing back in, you see the fight unfold between yourselves and, between Abraxas and Deathless. Down in the hold, though you have been chained, you are quite conscious. Hallow, and Elthamir says, "Oh, goodness gracious me!" It says, "What is it about adventurers?" And mutter. It says, "Where you're going to have to make a choice, little one. I can help you understand who you are, where you've come from, what your purpose is, or you can go with them." And you can probably at this point hear the battering at the door above, or at least the unlocking with the keys. And it said, "We're closer than you think, you and I." And her porcelain hand touches your cheek. Hello. What does it feel like?
God, it feels. I think Hallow has touched porcelain before, but it's porcelain like a vase, or something like that. It's weird to touch porcelain that feels as alive as they feel. And there's like a tiny moment where Hallow almost like leans into that touch. But then they say,
I think there's that the moment as you almost lean in, she almost leans in as well. In that will they, won't they, anime kiss moment.
yeah. I think it's like in my experience, you need to build them up as a rival first, and this won't come until like the seventh, until like the penultimate episode. So instead, what Hallow says is, it's very tempting, but if a bunch of adventurers can get through, can put you on the spot like this, I think I'll take my chances with them. And God, all right, figure out how to do this because I just remembered I had poison. No, I think what's gonna happen is, so I'm chained, hanging upside down.
Not necessarily. I hadn't. Yeah, if you want the upside down, yes. Let's say you are hanging upside down.
Okay.
It's because that kiss then was almost like a Spider-Man kiss, which makes it even better.
I guess, yeah. That's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. God, what was my plan? My plan was to detach my feet off of my legs. All this time I've been jimmying and unloosening my feet so I can fall off and land on top of her.
Are you
That's-
using any of your special abilities for this?
No. Once again, well,
Again, unless you're actively searched, and I haven't declared I'm doing it, you can conceal up to 2 weapons or things in your clothing.
yeah,
So
I
that's
do
also
have,
the case, yeah.
yeah, I do have some, my dagger and my cross. Well, definitely my dagger, for sure. Definitely, like I plan to land and at least like put the dagger to her throat. If I can if my feet can detach as easily as I hope they can. It was either that or nah. There's no I don't know how I'd have poison concealed on me. To just spit at her because I've been talking this whole time. So I will just detach myself and try to land on her.
Okay, then that's going to be, I think, most likely a straightforward attack.
Yes. Do you want to guess how bad this roll is?
Oh, I mean, considering your form at the moment, Andrew, I'm most interested if this is a 1 or not. I think
It's absolutely a 1. No, that's not a 7. That's a 1. Yeah,
it's a 1. Okay, so you detach your feet, and you have that moment of confidence in your eyes as you're about to drop down. Unfortunately, these chains are not normal chains, and as your body starts dropping, your the chains tighten. One of your feet drop to the ground. You're about halfway in and tied, and the other one is tied deeply and wound up in the silver chains, which are more like now a python coiling around you and squeezing you. So do take 2 hit points of damage from the squeeze. And she says, "Oh, you foolish creature." And so, said, "Now I will tell you nothing." They said, "We could have been great together." So I would have been a better friend to you than they ever were. But the door slams open, and Abraxas looks back in. Well, you can see this. You can see, as I say, Hallow halfway out of the chains, but now being coiled by them and squeezed, and the squeezing will continue. 1 foot definitely bound up, which is going to be quite difficult to get out. The other on the floor. Abraxas and Deslas, what is your action?
Well, we have the keys.
Yeah. I think I'm going to gesture the towards the captor with my rapier, and say, you I don't know who you are, but you've got our friend chained up there, and I'd be very pleased if you'd set them free. I can't abide to see somebody denied their themselves like that. So, are you going to make this difficult, or? And I'm going to activate my invocation of declare to compel an NPC to explain what they are doing, though they may lie.
See, this is why I love so many of the bits of this game, is that you have an ability that causes the villain to monologue at you. The villain says, "I had no interest in you at all until this creature," points at Hallow, "revealed itself and what it is," and said, sorry, I just closed my notes. Says Lord Piermont will give a great bounty for a relic such as this one. It says, imagine weeks could have been spent in the Umbral Sea looking for ruins like this. Said, they belong to me now. It's salvage.
I don't like the way you said all of that.
Ted looks at you and says, "And I don't like your common clothes and attitude, but none of us are going to be happy today, are we?"
Well, you may not like if I break your hand.
She says, "I see." I said, you have me outnumbered, and with the fact you are here, I assume that my idiot bodyguard has been beaten."
Yeah, he's really not great. I'm going to level with you.
He says, "Damn it." She mutters and says, "Fine." And she says, "Take him then." And the chains crunch around Hallow again, doing another 2 hit points of damage. She grabs the loose foot on the floor and says, "I said, yes, take him. I will grow another." And she is attempting to open a portal and escape with Hallow's foot. So the scenario we have is Hallow is being crushed to death by the chains and needs to be got out. They are rather helpless at the moment, and Althemir is going to try and escape with Hallow's foot.
So I have the key. I'm just gonna go straight to Hallow and like kind of use one arm to hold them up and the other hand to unlock the lock chain.
As you have the key and you search for it. I'm not going to make you roll for it, but that is going to keep you busy. Whilst let's say Althemir has sort of whooshed a portal behind her, swishing with electrical crackling energy, where you can see a brass and metal, what looks like deck of a bigger spell jamming vessel with many. They are gifts, and anyone hasn't seen gifts in Spelljammer before, they are large hippopotamus-looking individuals. I have put a picture of a typical one there but they all look at the portal opening, and you can see them sort of looking back at you. Certainly, you think if they have dived through, you're going to have difficulty catching her. So it is whether or not you are letting her dive through with no chance or problem, Abraxas, or you're trying to steal back Hallow's foot.
Yeah. I think Abraxas is going to his eyes grow bright for a moment, and he is going to call out, "Blow the man down, boys!" And I'm going to use Thunderous Word to attempt to knock knock her off of her feet. So yeah, so you speak word of power, releasing a thunderous shockwave in the direction you are facing. The wave knocks up to 3 creatures backwards and hits them each for 2 damage. They are briefly dazed and cannot use special abilities during their next turn in combat terms. But yeah, I'm basically going to attempt to use that to knock her off her feet, so I have a chance to retrieve the foot.
Yeah, I think she's sort of halfway through as this hits, and she sort of knocks down to the floor. She is knocked off her feet, surprised, giving you a chance on a roll of a d20 to grab the foot before she rolls through the portal.
Sounds good. That's a 17.
You grab the foot with no consequences at all as she rolls through and the portal starts closing behind you, you holding your marbledy alabaster foot up as a prize. Hurrah! 5 toes. As she sort of looks at you and says, "You have not seen the last of me," in an ominous way, as the portal sort of shuts behind her, leaving you on the deck of the vessel.
That's very good to know. I was hoping to meet her again.
Grand. She yeah, but you're held up but drop to the floor. The chains sort of coil up and form up like they are like a bracelet, effectively, like a double woven silver chained bracelet, which could easily be put on someone's wrist, especially as they have the key. But you are catching your breath, Hallow. Abraxas has your foot, and the Spiritfarer is closing in on your destination. Why don't we take 5 minutes there after the end of that scene, and then we'll come back at about 20 past the hour, wherever you are in the world, and we'll pick up from there. Okay, so once again we've established that I curse Leandro's dice rolls, and I think that has got to be the reality of the situation now. I've played so many games for Leandro where he manages to do hard fail after hard fail. Keeps me on my toes though, right? But there is the moment where I say that the Spiritfarer is starting to close in, the portal has shut. Hallow drops to the ground and I presume is scrubbling for their feet. And then you can hear a language. If does anyone have a reason to think that their character might know? In fact, let everyone who's on board the ship at the moment roll a d20 to see if you have heard this language before, or if there's any specific abilities you might have. Let me know. Otherwise, let's see.
I got an 18 on my roll.
Where's this language coming from?
Somewhere being reverberated through the ship.
Okay. It's probably not a cosmopolitan nature, so I don't think I have that.
I rolled a 9.
Yeah.
I rolled a 9 as well.
Deslas, do you want to roll?
I rolled an 18.
So, the surprising point, I suppose, is that Abraxas and Deslas, you do know enough ancient Elven to recognize what is being said here, and even if some of the words are unfamiliar, you're pretty sure that this vessel is telling you that it has 5 minutes until it will self-destruct.
Oh, oh no!
And the Spiritfarer is, let's say, 5.5 minutes away.
That doesn't sound good. That sounds incredibly distressing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi. Hello. Thanks for saving me. Name's Hallow.
Hi.
Hallow. Hallow says as they're screwing their foot back in.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. Introductions. Hello. This is Deslas. Deslas. This is Hallow. We're Hallow. Deslas has joined our crew. They are pretty handy with that stuff they carry there. Good to have someone good to have your back. And Deslas, this is as I say, this is Hallow. They are good at getting in and usually out of places, though that doesn't seem to have worked out quite so well today. But
Technically, we got them out, so it still holds true.
Look, insertions. I'm your person. Exfiltrations. Well, we tend to go for the fight our way out approach. But thanks for saving me. Anyway, you were yelling for what reason? What's going on?
I think if my translation is correct, we've got about 5 minutes to get off this ship before it explodes.
Yeah, crossing my translation with your translation, I think that's about right.
Right. Was that 5 minutes from when they started talking? Started speaking, or 5 minutes from now?
Well, like
yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah,
now.
About 4 minutes now, I guess.
Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. Where's Spiritfarer?
That's a good question. We should probably get on deck and see if we can see it.
Yeah,
I'll remind people that you also are here to try and steal that map and that cosmic cube.
I'm all right. I'm gonna go retrieve the thing I was here to retrieve. You all look for the Spiritfarer. We'll meet at the deck. And Hallow's gonna run off to see if Althamir left behind.
I'm actually gonna follow Hallow because I don't trust him to not get caught again.
I think I'm going to head up to the helm and see if I can do anything about this whole self-destruct sequence. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. On board, back upon the Spiritfarer, you're closing in, and I think the mystical energies building upon it. You can almost undoubtedly sense Varian, and so does Seraphim, who looks and says, "I don't know if we're going to get there in time." He says, "This is going to be close." Blue Rose looks at it and says, "We shall drink to their memory."
Lovely.
So, Varian, are you? You think Blue Rose is probably joking, probably, but it's like, how are we going to get there faster? Any thoughts?
Okay, so Varen, speed is of the essence, and Varen hasn't tried this before, but this ship, what's going through his mind very quickly, the ship we're on seems to be alive. It seems to be sentient. I've never tried the wolf call on a vessel like this, but it's probably worth a try. And Varen lets out a howl. Oh. And this is that wild aspect ability, which allows me to imbue up to 6 nearby creatures with haste.
I will charge you the 2 APs, and we'll count the ship as one as you sort of fill it with the sense of urgency as the sails fill, and it makes faster haste, tacking quickly into the eddies of the aether around it. Whilst back on the bridge is Abraxas on board the other vessel. That wooden cube of wooden brass is sitting on the desk. When I say sitting, it probably sort of slightly floats off in the air, rotating gently. It has that ambience of magical energy around it.
Yeah, I think Abraxas is going to just kind of gingerly reach out and put his hand on the cube.
It gives you a small twang of an electric shock, but it does not resist too greatly. The helm, the spirit helm that fires this vessel across the ether, is also in this room. That is glittering with red energy, as if it is on a road towards, as I say, its self-destruct.
Yeah, I think Abraxas is going to call out in slightly broken Elvish. I think his where he picked up the rudiments of the language from, and says, "A very good morning, Mr. Ship. If it would be possible, please do not explode."
Do you have any suitable abilities that would allow you to try and wrest control of this vessel?
I think probably not. I suppose it depends if just checking. It depends if the ship counts as an NPC, I suppose, or not. If so, then maybe a bit more.
What are you thinking? Which of your abilities?
So I think I was thinking probably inspire would be the closest. Actually, just checking. Yeah, no, I don't think Sigil would do anything in this particular case. So yeah, I think Inspire is probably the closest one, which is you inspire a nearby NPC by reciting a meaningful statement to them. The creature must be able to hear and understand you, can currently be hostile towards you. It shapes their behavior around an ideal and around their ideal, and they cannot fall victim to their flaws. So it's not entirely appropriate. My other thing would probably just be to like make a basic roll, but I don't have anything specifically to do with magically.
I think it's a basic roll then, but again, the ship is effectively bound to pull forces other than you, so this will be challenging.
Absolutely, yep. That is a 14.
So you sort of make the proclamation to it, and it sort of says back to you in Elvish and says, "I wish only that I could, but I have been given my command, and all I am is now spent." And it sort of stops for a moment and says, "But you said you at least gave to me a choice." And said, "And that was something that my master did not give." So it says, "So would I give a leave to you?" And a blade sort of comes out and pulls up from the ship, allowing you to grab it if you wish. And it says, "Though I am past, I give you a gift for your kindness."
Well, thank you, ship. That's a very good thing of you to do. I am sorry that we will not get to speak again, but it has been good to speak with you, and my gratitude for the sword.
So farewell, it proclaims. And that's where I think you can see, well, let's see what the others are doing before I declare the Spiritfarer comes alongside. But Deathless and Hallow, was there anything that you were doing?
Yeah, I'm off to grab the map, unless that was the one that Abraxas took.
I think that was, but equally you could have been there at the same sort of time, and you can be looking around for something else if you wish.
Well, yeah, if I'm heading to Althamir's like cabin, I do want to check to see if there's anything she left behind that could be interesting or useful. Like, she mentioned working for someone. Like it was either the Maester or the Magister. So I think it was one or the other. It started with an M. I remember this. So
she
yeah,
she has mentioned both the Maester and Lord Piedmont, who I'll add into the NPC soon enough.
Beautiful. Yeah, I do think I want to check to see if there's anything she had left behind that could be useful, interesting, mostly to myself. I'm not going to mention this to Deathless.
You like start scourging, and Deathless is like throws shit on the floor. Like, I don't know what you're looking for.
And I'm not going to say.
Good. So you are trying to sort of search the room. So let's, if there's anything specific ability wise, let me know. Otherwise, roll a d20 and we'll see what happens
right.
after that.
I'm gonna give this die one more try. Then if it goes horribly wrong, I'm gonna switch to the other die. Okay. That's a 5. I'm switching over. Should not have trusted a die that's like,
Should have told me.
what did that seller tell me? It's like swamp green. Shouldn't have trusted that. What happens on a 5, Dave?
The uh so I think as you sort of run through the drawers of her desk, you spot inside it a a bundle of letters and a small a small ring which glitters. It is forged out of obsidian, but has a look similar to you, that look of porcelain.
I mean, I'm gonna take it. I'm absolutely going to take it. The ring, and the letters as well. That seems very useful. In case we run into her again, I'm gonna say, "Aha! I have a correspondence."
Yeah. So the letters themselves are bound in a small silver chain, but the silver chain looks to be locked and sealed as if this is a defense. The ring you grab, and do tell me at any point you put it on.
Let's save that for later. There's enough going on right now. I think like probably feel like the jolt, or like we maybe hear the Spiritfarer coming. Before I'm kind of like in trance. I think I'll try to like pocket it before Desolate sees, and I'll just say like, got our correspondence. There's probably something juicy in here, but we gotta go.
I thought you were here for maps or something.
It's not here.
Okay.
I assume it's probably at the bridge. Why are you following me?
I just making sure you didn't get snatched up again.
I
Let's go. grab their arm and start dragging them back up.
Yeah, we go back up top, I guess.
Wonderful. You see the Spiritfarer then coming alongside, and everyone will need to leap for safety, because the ship that you're on, you can feel the magical energies coming up around it, and it is starting to break apart. Yes, you will need to. Everyone will need to roll a d20 or use a suitable ability to leap safely across to the Spiritfarer from the ship as it starts to break around you.
Right. Time to go with a new die.
Rolled me a 12.
Is it done to you again? Andrew's just going to stop signing up to my games, right? 'Cause I am clearly.
Look, it's not just you. It just keeps happening. I think it's just this week. Every time I play the game where I have to roll dice this week, it's been poor. I rolled a 1.
Have you spilt salt or insulted an evil witch or something this week, mate? It is a moment where, yeah. So you've done a 1. How did everyone else go?
I got a 12.
I
Dave?
5 for me, so not ideal either.
I'm about to grab both of you and just throw you onto this boat.
Okay, so on a 12 a success, no problem whatsoever from Daslas, who leaps across the void as the ship explodes. Abraxas, you make your way. You leap, but you're too close to the edge of the explosion, and I'm going to do a hit point of damage to you. Your ears ringing as you hit it, but on the one, you find yourself that you have misjudged your footing. Your feet capture or trip on the edge as you're jumping, Hallow. Perhaps your foot wasn't quite back on correctly, but you fall over the side and down into the ether. Hopefully someone will be able to grab you, but
Yeah.
you hear the ring in the pocket says, "Put me on, I will save you."
Yeah, sure, yeah, why not? I don't think Hallow has much of a choice falling into the ether. Yeah, they are kind of, they're cursing if like did they step on a cat today? Yeah.
Ethereal energies and waves wash across you as you put the ring on, and it and you are now joined together until such point that one of your fates ends. Probably yours, because you realize this is caused out of star matter itself. You are wearing a cosmic forge.
Yeah, I think that feeling washes over me, but I tap it down and just, okay, so where's the saving now?
Would you like to roll a d20? Don't roll a 1.
Tell that to the dice. I'm not doing anything. I'm just rolling dice here. Okay, cool. That's a 13.
Okay, so for a moment, the ring, you think about what you need, which is effectively almost like a ladder or a rope with a hook. What would you think that you needed to have to get away safely?
I think if they were being practical, if they're in a practical space, they would say like a hook or a rope or a ladder. But in their very impractical, oh my god, why did I put this ring on? They think wings. Kind of like it's incredibly impractical. Their first thought is wings, and they thought, no, wait, no, maybe a rope or a ladder would make more sense. But they think of like Da Vinci style flying machine, kind of stretchy wings. But they'll settle for a rope or or a ladder to get out of here.
Okay. So out of the very matter of stars, the ether itself, then a Da Vinci-like wing contraption appears on your back, allowing you to flutter your wings back onto the deck of the ship before it disappears away. And your first one is free, right? But what the Cosmic Forge does is it obsidian ring that when you click your fingers, you roll a d20 and you can conjure an object of any type that you require. How successful that is depends entirely on the rolling of the dice.
I love that you could have put any other conditions, but because it's me, it's just just roll a die.
I think I want to slightly rewrite how it's written in the book because it's way too No, it says on 11 to 19, you conjure the object, the ring overeats, hitting you for 6 HP. We're like, that's too much, right? Because it makes it unusable. So I will slightly rewrite it. But you have got a cosmic forge on yourself. Whilst Abraxas has a sword called Fable, which I put to the bottom of your sheet. Abraxas. And did you take the silver chain and coin, that's key with you, Deskless, or did you leave the chain behind on the ship?
I'll probably leave the chain behind.
That's fine. But you see this happen, and you see Hallow conjure these flying wings before landing on the deck of the Spiritfarer.
Whoa,
then-
cool magic!
As your sort of ship is whooshing away, you see what's left of the other vessel explode as you see its magical energies erupt into the nebula and gas cloud you're in, causing the ship to be buffeted as it makes its way out of the cloud and back into the stars.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot. I think Hallow will just kind of like collapse on their butt and just like sit down. Ugh. So, oh, I need to lie down. Just get me up when Pluros needs me.
Okay.
Well, I think that was by and large a success for our first boarding mission.
I think we did great. I think our plan of jumping on there, your plan that we executed really well. Are y'all okay though? Because I think you got hit by some explosion there.
I mean, yeah, I'll be fine. Just dinged up a bit.
Okay, good. Oh, that's all right. I believe you. Okay, maybe you should go see Lord, what is his name? Gunther. Maybe. We got bopped a few times by the spiky ball, so.
Yeah, I was thinking that Varen, who's been on the ship, would probably already be off to tell Gunther that his services may be of use. That we've got some members of our party who have been taking a few blows.
Excellent. Many of Gunther's medical potions and contraptions look like smaller looking frogs and newts in jars. He goes, oh, in his froggish French accent, goes, wonderful. I will deal with my patients. They will be like new, perhaps even better. But yes, you are away in the ether, and all is fine. Now, effectively, the way healing works, we're fundamentally out of combat, and we've got a bit of time to travel, so it is likely just to recover. But it is normally, I think, have I put that into the rules summary? Yeah, when you complete a full night's rest while in a safe place, you recover all of your hit points. So you count as being in a safe spot. So though Gunther does use leeches and ointments that smell surprising, and something which you're pretty sure is frog's eggs in a potion that he gives you. It's all important and will help with the healing. there is a vegan alternative, which just looks a little like frog's eggs. But yeah, so maximum HP. No, we always just keep your 10 hit points. Regrouping is if you do get away from the combat, there's a chance for you to get it all back. And I say resting, full night's rest, which is where we are. Your hit points will recover. So yeah, it gives you chance and time as characters to rest, recuperate, and figure out your next steps. I think Blue Rose, when you both come back on board, we'll check. All come back, we'll check. You're all right, first of all, and then ask Hallow. Say, do you have the map? Do you have the cube?
About that. Well, I was quite well. I did have it. I held it. It was a very nice cube. I saw it, and then I think it was placed on the bridge. And Abraxas, you didn't happen to find a cube on the bridge, did you?
Yeah, I got the cube.
Well, there you go. So since Braxis and I are close colleagues, by definition, I also have the cube, having acquired it through the transitive nature of comradeship. Do you mind displaying the cube, Braxis, buddy?
Yeah, he'll produce it. It's kind of gave me a bit of an electric shock, but other than that, it seems it seems to be present and intact.
Blue Rose puts a hand out, waiting to receive it. If you pass it to her.
Yep.
She moves a couple of the dials on the metal and twists something, and it pops open, showing, as I described earlier, almost like metallic shapes flitting around, fluid moving around, showing where you are. She sort of pinch zooms it out into this highly mystical Google map, showing where you are in the interconnected eddies of the universe, and says, "Wonderful." I said, "It is." I said, "It is a GIF navigator cube. With it, we will be able to find ourselves anywhere we wish to go, or at least anywhere that's been discovered." And she sort of zips in, and she pours a sort of vial of fluid onto it, and all of a sudden you can see other eddies and roots appear. It says, "And a number of places that they don't think to go."
I'm guessing we're going to one of those places.
So, well, that is for us to agree as a crew. We are a crew, after all.
Oh, well, I guess we are. Before we start thinking about where to go, I should mention our friend Althamir. They seem to be working for some lord, some maester. So we're probably gonna run into them again in the future.
I thought you were a dangerous and clever spy. How did you get caught?
Hey, don't make fun of them. They had a rough day already.
Oh, says Blue Rose. Gives you a big hug and pats you on the back of the head, going, "Poor Hallow, bad day. Oh, does this make it better?"
Maybe a tad, a smidge. Look, bro. You know how it is, Blue Rose. Sometimes you have your good days and your bad days. Sometimes you pull off a heist and you never know you're there. Sometimes a something snaps and you drop a vase and things just go poorly. It happens. The important thing is that the map is here and we came out of that breathing and healthy and everything. So we're ready to go wherever we need to go.
Wonderful. She says, why don't we take a little time to clear sort of wash up, and then we will figure out our next steps. Yes?
That would be nice. I would like to sit down.
And says, in the meantime, why don't we appoint Desolus as a happiness and morale officer aboard the ship, eh?
Yes, no, everybody, don't lose your feet. Just make sure that you all stay put on the ship, don't fall off, and we should be good.
You're very good at this. Well done, Desolus.
No problem.
So, does anyone wish to gather any scenes with each other or any of the NPCs? Otherwise, a day or two will pass because people recover from their injuries.
Yeah. 7 a.m. now, but I think that's also want to talk to Varen and Seraphim because they were piloting the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to like kind of pull them to the side when they're not busy and just be like, you guys did a great job not losing us. Otherwise, I think we would be all blowed up.
Well, fortunately, there was plenty of magic in the ether for us to be able to kind of figure out where you all were. This is I haven't done much traveling in the ether, but it's a mysterious place, that's for sure.
That's weird. It is weird. The ship over that ship also said stuff too. I didn't know that was like a thing. I bet it's hard to talk to ships and make them do stuff.
Well, yeah, these are strange. They're actually kind of living things.
Cool. Do you know how that works? Because you're like the plant guy, right? So like,
Well, yeah, I don't know that I fully know how it works, but yeah, they do have a kind of living sentient plant kind of nature. It sounds like, something out of some crazy fantasy story or something that we're dealing with here.
all of this seems like a stories that I grew up with, and I get to see with my own eyes. Then this also is gonna pet a part of the ship and be like, "Good ship, did a good job, ship." So you gotta make sure that we tell people that they're part of the team, so that way we have a stronger team.
The ship probably it creaks in a way that that is a kind response, and you sort of feel, I suppose, the wood on the ship itself feels happy for a job well done and appreciates your kindness. Meanwhile, as I say, Gunther has applied their salves, allowing people to recover back to their 10 hit points. And if no one wishes to seek anyone else, then Blue Rose will call everyone to an evening meal where they have the cube
Yeah. I think Abrax will sort of show up. I think he's been spending a little bit of time practicing with this new sword he's acquired, which I think is a kind of I'm bad at like sword names, but it's probably like one of the sort of cutlassy type thing, not like a big really broad one, but one of those sort of slightly curved, but still a fairly thin blade. He's been kind of going through his paces with it. It's got one of those the sort of basket hilt on it, as he's been practicing. But yeah, I think he'll show up to the evening meal.
Wonderful. Gustav looks disappointed that you have a fancier sword than him. But yes, there is a food upon the table. No one's quite sure where it comes from, but meals do appear regularly upon this ship, as if it is
Ship
feeding
makes
you.
it.
It looks after you completely.
I think a Hallow, Hallow, as far as they know, doesn't need to eat, but they do need to sleep. So they're not really sure. They've tried eating, but like there's no, as far as they know, they don't. There's nothing there to process any of that. So they just don't try. But they do get like tired and sleepy, but they don't get hungry. For the moment, so they're they're just kind of like they have food in front of them more as a courtesy. It's me like, all right, I'm not gonna.
Then Des also reach over and eat part of your food. So nothing goes to waste.
Yeah, and I think when Varen eats, Varen always has these herbs that he carries on him. So it takes him a very long time to eat because he's always like seasoning, like, takes a little bite and then, thinks and then, is kind of grabbing, various herbal seasonings and kind of trying out like the different flavor combinations. So like when everybody else is finished, he's probably only about a quarter of the way through what he has on his plate.
Excellent. But yeah, the meal is a prepared. It is put onto everyone's table. You have a chance to talk and catch up. But then Bluro sort of taps a spoon against her tankard and says, "So, the question is, dear friends, now that we have all of the universe to see, where shall we go first?"
Does the cube show you where the Spelljammer is?
Yeah. So you can see the Rock of Brawl behind you. You're probably a few days out from it. You can see it sort of extending out into various different different directions and pathways. And he says that there are the common ways that you travel between the different crystal spheres. I said, but worlds with seas and gravity are so disappointing. I am far more interested in keeping to these locations. And she points out towards some of the further places where you sort of the images of the ships, which were more almost growing out of the woods and the animals, and she points towards the edge of known space and says, I wish to cross into the sunless lands, but that is not a journey I expect everyone to take with me. He said, if there are things that I could take, that we could find together, perhaps to familiarize ourselves with this ship, places that you wish to go, mysteries to unravel. And said, because I cannot ask you to go on the journey that I wish to take.
It's probably best we build up to that instead of going straight for that. Oh, there is something like now I wish I had done before we went to the
Yeah.
dinner. Go through Altamir's correspondence. Oh wait, no, it's locked up.
It is sealed. Yeah. And will require some cleverness to open.
Yeah, I'm not that clever yet. So I'll say okay. So I'll save that for another day.
It says, and it seems to me, she says, we have something on our tail in this journey. I said, I was not expecting to see. I was not expecting to see agents of the GIF Empire out here. There is something going on between them and the dwarves, and I fear we are going to get drawn into it.
Then best we don't do that. Then we're last time I checked, we're not an empire. Why not someplace where we can lose them? Someplace vast where you just like someplace where we can not necessarily lie low, because obviously we should be working and doing things, but someplace far away.
She looks and says, then maybe to, and she points out towards says maybe we could go back to the Umbral Sea and see what more we can find of you, or onwards into mystery. It would be wonderful to see the forests of the prismatic wood, and not just their small enclave on the rock. I said, and perhaps, Abraxas, we should tell your mother where we have taken you. She will not be happy with me.
Yeah, I should probably send a message back. He grins and says, there was somewhere else as well. I saw a vision of a great silver tower, if my own memory is serving me correct, that my that I'd like to investigate, though I don't know exactly where it is. But I figure if we hit up anywhere where there's spacefaring folks around, they may have some more knowledge about it.
She looks and she taps the map and she asks the ship and says, can you show us? And it sort of extends out from where we are, and we can see this silver towers sort of appear back and forth, and we sort of see it, and it zooms in on that bigger map towards effectively what is something deep in the Elithid Dominion, who are the squid-faced aliens you see in creatures you see in D&D. And he goes, oh, Elithid space. Always
yeah,
fun.
that rings a bell. Yeah.
Says, then maybe we shall go there. And she sort of says, is that our destination? Do we agree?
Well, given that my behind was saved by Abraxas and Co., I wouldn't be against going towards wherever he wants to go.
Excellent. Then that it will be. So Illithids are dangerous, shall we say. And we will need to make our journey. But come, into the weird. And she raises a glass to everybody and the ship sort of tacks on the winds and
Hey.
makes its direction. Um, it will take a few weeks of travel, giving you chance to explore and expand your time together as a crew. So let me ask then, as that travel takes place. Hallow, who do you speak or sort of seek time with, and what do you do to keep yourself occupied in the long journeys?
I think it's who. My mind went to the ship, because they're the one who's least like used to the ship because they weren't around when they stole it. So they probably spent quite a bit of time like um figuring out the ship and walking around the ship, because like as much as talkative and how much bullshit they talk, there's kind of like a sense of like after having met like Althamir and nearly getting some answers, they're fallen into a bit of an introspective kind of funk. Um, so they probably spend quite a bit of time trying to communicate with the ship. Alternatively, trying to work out the the locks and the correspondence. They'll be conversational at dinner, but it is a lot of uncharacteristic brooding from them.
Excellent. And I think the ship is alive and sentient. It can be spoken to in some ways in the helm upon the bridge, where Seraphine and Blue Rose spend most of their time. Um, but it is alive. It is sentient, but not probably in a way that uh, you quite understand. It seems happy to be with you and happy to be out in the stars, if not nervous that it is about to travel into stranger places.
Yeah, I think like Hallow does like every now and then tries to lob like a bunch of philosophical questions at the ship, um, which obviously like communicates in its own way. So I don't think Hallow gets what they want. Um, I think they do ask it like I think there's one night where like they just asked the ship like, "Do you remember who built you?"
Says, I was not built, I was
Mhm.
born, I
Oh,
was grown, I was desired.
oh,
And
well,
says, I come from the deepest flows and reefs in the aether.
oh, so I guess you'd probably be closer to, I guess, everyone else in the crew. Actually, I don't know if I'm born as well. I keep thinking I was made because I look like I'm made, but well, I could probably also be born as well. So you don't have, you just came to be? Oh wait, no, you said you were desired. Who desired you?
Says, I do not remember.
Hmm.
Said, we are we are born ships like I. They said, were you born or were you made?
Uh, that's the big question. I don't know. I don't know what I prefer, honestly. If I was born, that means that what made me and what made you was left to procedures too complex for most to understand. If I was made, then I was designed. It means every little bit of me was considered. Which one do you think you'd prefer?
Said, the one that makes you happiest.
Are you happy?
Says, yes. I said, I think I will have a more interesting journey with you than I would amongst the service of a dwarven prince. I will see things rather than be a bauble.
Well, we'll make sure that you see a lot of things. Feels like we're going to be doing that. We're going to be seeing a lot of things. You and me in this group.
Wonderful. And Farron, same question to you. In the journey, what do you do to keep yourself busy? Who do you seek out? How do you spend your time?
When we were kind of looking at the map, I think Varen was just engrossed by kind of taking it all in. But what really drew his eye was this odd kind of gash through the universe called the weird. And you know, when Abraxas was bringing up the silver tower, and it turns out that this was in the Illithid domain. Varen didn't say anything, but you know, close up of him could see that his eyes lit up, because that's perfect. It will take us close to this space called the weird. And I think, knowing now that we're kind of heading at least in that vicinity, I think he's kind of using his time to kind of find out about what the weird is. I do wonder if Seraphim would be the most likely person that would know something about this. I mean, I think he would try to, you know, if there's any books on board that would kind of give him information, he would study those. If he, you know, asks around if there's anybody on board who kind of knows of legends, rumors about the weird, he would be trying to get what information he can.
I think the crow probably know about as much as you do. You are plunging out into the unknown, at least from where. But I think it is the case that Seraphim is certainly willing to help you try to understand a little of this. And he says, it's strange. It's the map doesn't seem to know what is there. It is a gap, a place of hidden spaces, say a darker region. Perhaps, so she looks at the signs and says, but it seems it is busy with pirates, at least. Said, perhaps we should give it a miss. He points to the the map, and says, look, we can go here on the space lanes out to where we are traveling. There's a gap. I am sure we'll be able, what's the worst that can happen? We're likely to run into Illithid patrols. I'm sure we can outrun them, right? I mean, or we could go around. It'll only put another week or two onto the journey. It says, or we can go through the weird. Said,
Well,
why are you drawn to it?
Well, just because, I mean, everything else in the map seems like, to some extent, it's already been explored. It's all filled in. You know, whenever I encounter a map and there's a gap, that seems to me where the interesting stuff is. You know, you see the weird on the map, and it's just like these black blobs with skulls, which I don't really know that the skulls mean death. I think that, you know, it may just be question marks. We don't know what's there.
So I think he smiles and says, the unknown is interesting. So shall we set course that way and travel through the weird?
I would like that. I mean, it saves us, has a double purpose. It saves us time and gives us a glimpse of the unknown, which is always bound to be interesting.
Just wonderful. Then what's the worst that can happen? And elsewhere on the ship, if you were sensitive to it, you would feel that it attacked in a slightly different direction on the etheric fields. Excellent. And what about Abraxas whilst they are traveling? What are they doing?
Yeah, I think in terms of how they're passing their time, I think they definitely do a fair amount of said sword practice and sparring and stuff. I'm certainly I'm wondering if maybe Desolus will be one of his partners, and probably Gunther as well. I can imagine.
Yeah, that's also totally be up for sparring.
And so yes, that's probably where you do discover for the first time that the sword is possibly knocked out of your hand by Desolus and goes scuttling across the deck, just about to fall out. And what does it look like when it does pop back into your hand? How does that effect look on screen, Abraxas?
I think in sort of in this where it's sort of still in like visible sight sort of thing, it is that kind of classic, Star Wars. It kind of flies back up from the ground and into his hand, with and he just sort of catches it, and I think it looks a bit surprised by that, but and says, "Wow, that's I've not seen a sword do that before."
That's cool. I don't use swords, so I don't know what all magic swords can do, but that's awesome. Do it again. And Desos is going to try and knock it out of his hand again.
Yeah, and I think as it goes flying, I think again he I think before it kind of he was almost taken by surprise as it came to his hand, but I think this time he kind of stretches his hand out towards it, and it sort of flies back in again, as he says, "Well, it's a pretty nifty trick. I'll have to." I can see that coming in handy, especially out here.
Oh yeah, this place is space is all of this is huge.
Yeah, I never realized quite how empty it was all going to be until I got out here. What about you? Have you been out on the? Have you been out here much before?
Nope, this is my first time. I'm from a very tiny village in a small part of the world. So I had never even seen a big city until we went to the party. There was a lot of people there. They all smelled weird, but I guess that's just how they are. So I'm not gonna judge too hard on it. But you're right. It is kind of empty, right? It's kind of quiet.
Yeah. I'm not used to the quiet, certainly.
Me either. I don't really like it. It makes people think too much.
Yeah, I can definitely understand why there's all those tales of people sailing off into the distance and coming back strange.
Are you one of those people?
Maybe one day. We'll see.
What are you thinking about when you're contemplating deep space?
what else can be out there? I guess like there's all these. I've heard stories since I was a kid of all the wonderful places, the wondrous places out there, and yeah, it'll be great to get to see them with my own eyes. You know.
I mean, already seeing you guys is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's probably fair.
That's not a bad thing, but I think it would be cool to see it, different worlds and what they have in them. Make new friends. Is that what you're about, Abraxas?
Yeah, definitely. Meet new people. Hopefully, not have to explode them all. You know, but
Knocking them out. Yeah. Hmm. It's too bad for those people on that ship, huh? Well, they were probably bad guys. It's okay.
yeah, it's. I wasn't expecting someone to blow up a hole. I mean, just think of how rare and how much that shit must have been worth to just blow it up because you're finished with it. So
Yeah. It's probably more than how many fingers and toes I have.
I mean, without a detailed anatomical inspection, I'd say quite a bit more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So let us cut away from you to the exit from that portal where we see Alphamir, as we sort of cut out around her and the GIF ship that she is upon. It is not so much a ship as in an asteroid that has been made ready to travel the ether void. Its spelljamming engines crackle with energy as it creaks and makes its way through. It is a formidable place of defense and cannons, and she appears out of the portal, heads straight towards the castle at the top of the rock, and kneels before uh, the nobles there. There is a GIF general who is pointing at maps and saying, "We will never be able to win the war if we don't understand where those wooden vessels have come from." Said, "Imagine ships that can grow spelljammers." Said it would change the face of the conflict. And the figure that they're speaking to in a hooded robe says, "Absolutely. What have you brought us?" And she looks to Althamir and says, "I will require reinforcements and a larger ship." I said, "The vessel has been stolen from me, but they will not escape me again." In that hand waving anime villain style. I think we will see the Spiritfarer closing in as it makes its way out of the journey towards a location where you can recharge, prepare yourself before plunging into the void. It is I say a small realm as you cross from the rails of space through the edges of what are referred to as the crystal shells and into one of the worlds near the void. There are other spelljamming vessels, like not like yours. You haven't seen anything that looks quite like yours, but it does make its way in, and you sort of come to a stop at uh, uh, what effectively seem to be a world that is predominantly crewed by gnomes and other halfling species. Your ship comes to a point where it is hooked up to a the towns of this place, and the towns seem to have been carved and built out of precariously balanced rocks into the calm waters below. Well, the crew has time to gather some shore leave and prepare itself as it thinks about the journey it's going to take across and into wild space and into the weirdness of the void. Not having social moves in the game has sort of, I think, affected my pacing slightly. So I think about as far as I think I can, I would like us to go today, if that's okay. So probably move into a sort of cool down phase, finish about 10 or so minutes early probably, and then we'll pick up going into the void and seeing what's in that strange prison next time, if that's all okay with everyone. Cool. So we've now, I think, got our head around all of the major mechanics of the game, and I'm going to just sort of run around and sort of stars and wishes, really, to see how there are any thoughts that people have. Let's go in reverse character keeper order this morning even, and ask Chase, do they have any stars they would like to throw out to the players here?
I like the amount of focus, I guess, that comes to mind that everybody, like, their characters are having for their goal, even though like it's open kind of goals. They're like, okay, we're still a team, we have to work together, kind of thing. I like kind of the found family trope, and I feel like it's getting slowly starting there. So it's like one of my favorite things. It's why I like Treasure Planet so much. It's just that's definitely, I like the kind of play into, like, there's still a bit of rockiness and silliness and stuff, but it's all great.
Yeah, it's interesting to see why you would choose to stay together. It's like, we've got the ship. Where shall we go? What shall we do? All of that freedom. Cool. David, any stars?
Yeah, stars around. That was a good fun session. I really liked seeing Robbie, the kind of creative use of your abilities to was really nice. I think that's some really cool stuff in there. So yeah, that was good to see. Chase again. Yeah, just the enthusiasm and focus and care for the other characters that Dessa shows was really nice. It's a really nice contrast to not contrast, but sort of a nice another facet to the crew is cool. I really liked the kind of that running in and in that first fight and the protectiveness towards Hallow was great. Leandra, I think I really like Hallow just as a concept. They're a really cool character. But yeah, I think both to you and to Dave, the kind of the back and forwards on the consistent failures was really cool, and it did for as much as that was a particularly unlucky sequence of rolls. It led some interesting places. I think we learned some cool stuff about Hallow and about I keep forgetting her name, Althamira, in those sort of in that sequence of events. So yeah, that was cool regardless. It was nice to have a bit of swashbuckling action as well, just in general, on that ship. So that was nice. I really enjoyed that whole sequence, and I've enjoyed as well just learning little bits more about the crew as we've carried on. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Cool. Thank you, David. Robbie?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the session. I liked the scene where Drawl made his reappearance, and that kind of repartee that was there between Abraxas and Drawl was very fun. And Desolus continues to be really very, very direct. I mean, I love Desolus's, willingness to always take like, okay, why would we want to be subtle? We need to be, just kind of going bravely in. I like the fact that there's with Desolus, this kind of refreshing lack of constraint that he brings to the game. Yeah, and yeah, the Leandro's poor rolls that keep always keep things interesting. That was good, and I also like this kind of interest of Hallow's origins and the kind of questions that he has about whether he was born, whether he was made. That's a kind of intriguing element that continues to be in play, which I like.
Excellent. Leandro?
Yeah, I think my favorite bit from this, because I want to echo everyone said, that like this was a lot of fun. I think my favorite part is like everyone using just again, just like little choices and little like different things they add when using the abilities, like getting Althamir to monologue. Robbie, you asking, yeah, that ship has some nature in it, right? Yeah, I can totally use it for that. I did love this being all, why don't we just attack them? We don't need them. Do we need a bigger plan than that? And also like, yeah, little character moments like Tessa's following Hallow just to make sure they don't get caught anything again. I really love like the complementing and the contrasting between all these characters. It has that it has that kind of like light bouncy adventure quality to it. It doesn't, there's some introspective moments, but like, it's still like it feels fun. And also like, yeah, I think that's helped as well, because Dave, you're anchoring everything into this like fun aesthetic, like and also should I give a star to the dice? I don't think I'll give. I don't want to give them a star. I don't.
MVP. Yeah, to the dice rollers and the dice, which have made me do all the work in the games I played Leandro this week. God damn it. Just a question for you as players, actually. Do we want to play this with a bigger, more of a if you like, a planet of the week, and though loosely connected, but not necessarily big epic adventures, or is there a desire for a more epic thread? Where were people going as players with this? Because I've just sort of getting my head around how the game runs and paces to a degree here, and it's like I've missed social moves in that back part of the game because they're not there, so people got to do role play, but it's like nudging people is one thing, but where would people like to go? Is this a planet of the week type affair, or is this something that we want to draw into a bigger thread and plot? Any preferences?
I think because we have the space, because we have like another month of this,
Mhm.
maybe at the end we ramp up to like some big plot. But I don't mind going from like one planet, doing a planet of the week thing at least for the next 2 to 3 or maybe in 4 weeks. This is our third session, right?
It is, yeah. We've got how many more we got? We've got another
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions left. Yeah. So yeah, so it doesn't have to be a big central. There is an epic plot, save the universe stuff thing going on, but drawing some threads together. So there is a more of a direction of travel for people. I'm trying to give you freedom, but it's like,
Yeah,
do you want
I
that, or
think
do you want more of a theme?
I think as long as the planets that we go to have something to do with like the crew of the
Yeah.
ship. And that would be fine because it will tie in naturally anyways at that point. Because they're already searching for things, and if the planets have something in there that they like, then
Yeah. If Dave, if you feel like if you want us to like even like contribute like any kinds of other planets, because we don't want to be, I don't want it to be like you just have to keep coming up with fantastical locations every week. You're also a player here, but if you want us to like take a share of that load,
I think it's
direct.
no. I'm happy either way. It's just what I thought. Oh, next week I thought to myself, well, how am I going to do this? Is it there's another adventure taking us place, or are we just some of these threads are overlapping with more of my thinking, and I think it's not potentially tightly woven, but there is a backstory meta plot perhaps unfolding that's going to draw you all in and make you make choices is what I'm thinking now. But it's not necessarily driving you in an epic fantasy towards throwing a ring in a volcano.
And if that were to happen, we'll just like flick it there. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Yeah,
it's your ring.
Oh.
Let me go back around with a load of round of wishes then, based upon what we've just discussed there. So, Leandro, any wishes from you?
This is partially on me because I framed some of the scenes, but like I wouldn't mind interacting more probably with people who aren't Dave. Not that interacting with you, Dave, isn't the best. But then again, like I don't think I have that many wishes. I think I got a lot. I think I figured out Hallow, how they're working the sessions. I don't mind like letting someone else letting someone else's plot like take center stage. I do feel like Hallow got quite a bit given the whole Althamir thing and the many various failures that meant you had to keep throwing stuff at them. But I think I want to be like to support someone else.
Sure.
Next week.
Makes sense to me, Robbie.
I don't know that I have. I'm enjoying it so much the way it's running that I don't know that I have any big wish. I am a little curious about what that whole weird space is. But I think that we're kind of on the edge of it. So that'll be fun to see.
Awesome. That makes sense to me. So explore what you had. David?
Yeah. So I think that I'm looking forward to having which I think obviously where we're going for next time, but I am looking forward to having a bit of a chance to put down on the planet and do a bit of exploring and interacting with that and give us a chance, like for instance, things like it would be cool to see Varen get a bit more opportunity to do the whole druidy naturalist thing where we actually have kind of flora and fauna to interact with rather than out in the void of space. That's despite some cool uses of it this time, and just see some cool sights, meet some cool people, all that stuff.
Cool, that makes sense. So explore the planet. Cool. And Chase?
I'm kind of on the same with the explore the planets, but more of like explore how the planet affects the ship and the crew, like whether it's like laws, moral ambiguity, things like that kind of like sticks with them. That's something that I'm looking forward to. I also like I forgot to say this earlier, but I also like that there's no hard stops on low rolls. You know what I mean? Like how it's just like, okay, you failed, so now you're stuck, do it again kind of thing. So like seeing that evolve into instead just more like story, more like okay, moving it forward instead of having hard stops. That's something I like seeing that kind of unfold, and like to see it like not low. I don't want to see more low rolls, but I like to see more of that happen in general.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of you folks dice rolls. What happens? Nothing. It's but then
Yeah.
but bad things happen. It gets worse, but eventually it gets better, probably. Or I deal with all your hit points. Cool. Okay, look, that actually was really useful because it does feel like we want to spend a bit of time on the planet, see what's happening with the gnomes, potentially put your own spacefaring mindset in conflict, in inverted commas, with them before pouring ourselves out into the void again. That sounds fun. I can frame that quite happily for next week. Cool. All right, then, gang. So let me stop